Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from RealityArtPod, here to talk about everything that happened on week 6 of Big Brother 26. I'll recap the 3 episodes and talk about the evicted house guest. Last week on Big Brother, Tucker's HOH of revenge pointed towards the Rubina voters, as he ultimately told married mother Brooklyn to beat it, leaving only one MJ left in the house. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist where you can catch up on my previous recaps and rankings. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate the support. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off. Following Brooklyn's departure, Tucker is proud of his HOH and feels like it was a good week. Tucker tips Cam off that there were plans to evict Cam over Chelsea if Brooklyn won the AI arena, which I guess turbocharges Cam's game from tortoise to snail. Now that his alliances have been dismantled, all Cam has is Chelsea. Leah is conflicted because she voted out her friend Brooklyn and had to vote with the house, but still doesn't have control over her game. Chelsea and Cam later sync up and agree that they still have each other's backs. So we head to the HOH comp titled Sound Bites that takes place in an AI lab where AI Miss Magoo Ainsley has created a library of sounds the house guests make. They have to watch ASMR clips of themselves and answer true or false questions about them. They play the clips, and I hate to say it, the clips weren't very memorable. Some of the sounds were very cringy, especially the grating of a razor atop Kenny's cue ball dome. Angela and Quinn are eliminated on the first question, followed by Leah, Chemo, Mackenzie, and Cam. It comes down to Joseph, Chelsea, T-Kor, and Rubina with a question about Kenny shaving his head, which sees T-Kor guessing correctly and winning her first HOH.
And I'm ready to crow slay.
I'm sorry, I don't have much to say about this competition. It was honestly so boring and such a throwaway from production. Back in the house guests celebrate T-Kor, the most popular person in the house, winning HOH, by following her around like what Mackenzie calls lost puppies. Chemo and Rubina get emotional about their savior T-Kor's victory.
I'm ugly crying because I love her so much. She's so special and she doesn't even know.
T-Kor tells them they're safe and they can help her decide who she puts up this week. The players start scrambling, with Cam feeling nervous because he's on the bottom and Leah on the fence because she's been voting the same as T-Kor the last few rounds but is still on the outs. T-Kor, Chemo, Rubina, and Tucker meet to form a core alliance within the 6th Avenue Alliance. Excluding Angela and Joseph, they name it Friend Z. Great group, all-time terrible alliance name. Tucker gets called to the diary room and is told that America voted him to be the AI instigator. He gets to deepfake the other house guests and stir up drama in the house. At the end, America will vote to decide how much money we give to Tucker. Nothing, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. This is a lot of money for minimal work, and it's very obvious that he's gonna get the $20,000 no matter what. In the HOH room, Chemo treats us to an all-time musical moment.
Singing in the singing, in the BB house, in the BB. Can you hear me singing?
This arrangement was pretty spicy. I didn't know BB had it in them. I saw this on Twitter and I thought it was a fan edit. The first house guest deepfaked by Tucker is Quinn, who tells the house that he saw Tucker and Rubina holding hands and that they should have gotten Rubina out when they had the chance because she's helping Tucker. Feed watchers didn't know who the instigator was, and until this episode aired, I really thought that this message cleared Tucker's name. Starting off by exposing your own showmance is insane, especially with how upset Rubina got about this. Of course, it wasn't his intention, but she is really affected by it. Tucker consoles Rubina and tells us that his intention was to expose the showman so that they could be affectionate in public and not hide it anymore, and they have a passionate kiss for anyone who's into that. In other news, our Angela is not a have-not anymore, so she treats herself to an orgasmic BLTA in slow motion to the tune of Ave Maria.
It's just everything I've been fantasizing about for days.
Later, T-Kor holds her meetings, starting with Chelsea. She tells Chelsea that she's one of the people who she's keeping safe no matter what. Mackenzie suggests T-Kor's allies, Quinn and Angela, as potential targets, putting her on T-Kor's shortlist to be nominated, but let's be real, Mackenzie was pretty doomed. At least she tried. When T-Kor asks Leah for targets, she plays dead, staring off into the abyss with flighty wind instruments playing, and gives no real answer, which is maybe a better strategy than Mackenzie trying. Cam also gives T-Kor nothing. Tucker volunteers himself as a pawn because he loves T-Kor and wants to see her have an easy HOH. Later, of course, an outburst from Angela where she randomly goes to HOH crying, saying she feels like she's going home. The other house guests are appalled and are like, girl, no. At the ceremony, T-Kor nominates Mackenzie, Cam, and Tucker. Pretty straightforward. 2 obvious nominees and a volunteer, all of whom could go home and benefit T-Kor's game. Moving on to Wednesday night's 2-hour episode, which picks up after the nomination ceremony where T-Kor says she hopes that Tucker stays, but if she wins the veto, she won't use it. Tucker acts shocked and hurt in the diary room that he was nominated even though he volunteered, which is odd. T-Kor tells Cam and Mackenzie both that they're pawns, so everybody has to win the veto. Then Angela is enjoying her charcuterie that stays good for a few weeks in sweet peace.
Cheers, Brooklyn.
We find out why this episode was 2 hours. We need to see Chemo and Joseph Lady and the Tramp a pickle. Leah starts worrying that she'll be the renom, and Tucker is upset and crying that he's nominated, but continues to say T-Kor's name wrong, which always comes off really disrespectful. He whines to Chemo about how he volunteered to go up but wasn't expecting to, boo-hoo-hoo. The game is afoot in the kitchen where Rubina and Mackenzie are teaching Angela to twerk.
I don't want to say throwing ass, so I just said I'm rolling my butt.
Chelsea tells Mackenzie that if she wins the veto, she'll take her off the block to help her out, which is a lie, but Chelsea wants to play in the veto to keep Tucker on the block. They pick players for the veto. Cam gets house guest choice and picks Joseph, who always gets picked. Joseph says Cam should have picked Chelsea, and I agree. Chelsea tells us that the spirit of dumbassery hit Cam, but he was trying to hide their obvious relationship. Angela also gets picked to play. They head to their veto comp, AI Apocalypse, where the AI bots have taken over for a prize and punishment event. That's always my favorite veto of the season. Host Chemo calls this the AI Apocalypse Trading Ground. Ainsley has created a simulation to prepare them for the AI takeover, where they need to fight evil robots, slingshotting the robots. Each round, the person with the lowest score is eliminated. When they're eliminated, they can open a top secret envelope, including prize or punishment with opportunities to steal. So let's get into it. The first round sees Spizzy Joseph scoring 0 and getting the veto in his envelope. In the second round, our Angela scores a 0 and wins, spending 24 hours in solitary confinement in the Matrix. Truly a nightmare scenario for Angela, and any excuse for the show to throw the Crazy Eyes clip, which she happily trades to Joseph for the veto. Next 0 scorer is Mackenzie, who wins a trip for 2 to Hawaii, which she decides to keep. Clever girl. In the next round, T-Kor and Cam both score 0 and have to face off, with T-Kor being eliminated, winning radiation eradication, a physical task to clear the backyard of 1,000 radioactive balls, or lose the ability to play in the next HOH. She steals Angela's veto and gives her the punishment. In the final round, it's Cam versus Tucker. Tucker scores a 0 and Cam scores a 12. Tucker opens his envelope with $5,000, which he trades for T-Kor's veto because he doesn't want T-Kor to have a punishment. Cam's envelope has a punishment, the BBAI assist, answering mundane questions that lazyhole Ainsley doesn't have time for. He trades it to Tucker for the veto, which means Cam wins the veto for the week and has now officially done something. He also talks a lot of smack in the diary room this whole segment. Following this, T-Kor has to pick a replacement nominee. She's in a few alliances, and Leah is the only option that isn't in an alliance with T-Kor. She tells Quinn that she's considering Leah, and he's not happy that his crush Leah is in danger this week. Tucker's next deepfake victim is Rubina, who simply says Angela is the best butt roller in the house. Then Fraudula comes back to say that she was butt rolling that butt for Chuck, her husband. Chronically wrong Mackenzie thinks the instigator is Angela, and I don't blame her. I thought it was Angela too. Then, just what we needed, Tucker has an opportunity for some acting.
Hey, everybody who wants to meet the BBAI assist.
For Tucker's punishment, Big Brother will shout out questions and Tucker needs to look up the answers in the encyclopedia. Tucker is loving his punishment and even spanks his own booty to celebrate. Chemo's deepfake tells them that Leah has all the tea from the boys and knows everything going on in the house. Leah doesn't care about this, neither does anyone else, nor does Leah have all the tea. Angela has to complete her punishment and look so cute and funny in her suit. She has to walk back and forth and use a grabber to pick up radioactive balls. Chelsea says that Angela needs to walk basically 8 miles in 12 hours. She also has to take her suit off and get slimed periodically and then put the suit back on, which is gross. This punishment is terrible and our poor Angela breaks down crying. They even slime her mid-cry, which was just plain cruel and sad. Mackenzie walks with her and the house guests all celebrate Angela finishing her task, which was cute. Joseph heads to the Matrix where there are little holograms of Matt who's there to talk Joseph's ear off and drive him crazy. Joseph also has a little tent that he admitted to using to get freaky on himself. All that aside, these are great ads for the Protobox brand, but are people supposed to want to buy these little hologram boxes at some point? Tucker later catfishes as himself to remind the house that Quinn and Chelsea are not to be trusted and that Tucker is targeting T-Kor. So the house is convinced that Angela is the instigator, saying that she looked guilty. Tucker tells Angela that people think it's her, and she funnily tells Tucker that whoever's doing it is doing a terrible job, but he was just trying to help her out. Tucker tells Angela that he has her back even before Rubina, and she feels like that's BS because he's having relations with Rubina, so she immediately decides she needs to get Tucker out. She doesn't even change her clothes. She approaches Quinn, Leah, and Mackenzie, saying she's ready to take Tucker out. If she would have waited until after the veto ceremony, this could have been good strategy. Quinn runs this right back to T-Kor and Chemo for a visionaries meeting. Quinn wants to protect Leah, so he throws Angela right under the bus to T-Chemo. T-Kor sees Angela as expendable and doesn't respect that she begged to be in their alliance in the first place. Quinn then brings this info back to Tucker, buttering Tucker up with the tea so that he trusts Quinn, but Quinn is still planning to turn on Tucker eventually. Tucker promises Quinn that he won't tell Angela and then goes right to Angela and confronts her. Angela owns up to it and Tucker tells her that he still wants to have her back, but she's making it very hard. Tucker leaves off still loyal and committed to Angela, Angela and campaigns to T-Kor to keep Angela off the block and nominate Leah still. At the veto meeting, Joseph is released from solitary, and Cam, who was not on the show since he won the veto, decides to use the veto on himself, and T-Kor names Angela as the replacement, telling us that her targeting someone in their own alliance was unignorable and needed to be addressed, and Quinn says Angela made the biggest mistake because nobody should ever trust him. They should know that by now. Moving on to Thursday's eviction episode, where Julie looks gorgeous in a simple orange summer dress, matching shoes, hair laid. She sends us back to the veto ceremony where Tucker storms off pissed off that he volunteered to go on the block, gave T-Kor $5,000, and she didn't put Leah on the block the way he wanted. They fill Joseph in that while he was in solitary, the Tucker-Angela drama ensued. Angela exposes that she begged to be in Tucker's alliance, and while she doesn't name who was in it, anyone who's not in it knows that they're not in it, and Angela tells Quinn he can't be trusted, which he calls fair. Angela, of course, makes a passionate speech, as she likes to do. Following the meeting, Rubina tries to get Tucker to forgive T-Kor. He calls the other house guests JV players, and he's varsity, and is basically being a big baby, even accusing Rubina of having fake feelings for him, which upsets her and makes her question their relationship as well. Later, Tucker and Rubina clear the air by the hammock. They both have real feelings, so this was just a misunderstanding. Now that the nominations are locked in, Chelsea gets to work. She knows that Tucker needs to go this week for her to be back in a fighting spot in the house. She gets Cam on board. Next, she pulls in Leah and Mackenzie, who are both down. And this was all Angela's idea, so Angela should also be down. Lastly, she rounds up with Quinn, who starts off down, and she tells Quinn that she already has the votes to do it, which lights Quinn up with excitement. So coming into this AI arena, there are really high stakes, and any of the three nominees could go home. They're playing Puzzling Password. Ainsley's whack old system needs an upgrade, and they need to assemble a password puzzle to reveal a number they need to memorize, find in a pile of passwords, and hit their buzzer. These puzzle pieces look huge, and this comp is definitely in Tucker's favor to begin with. They get started, and Mackenzie is crushing it from the start, but Tucker's completely lost. His pieces are all backwards, he's out of sorts. Mackenzie really eats this and leaves no crumbs. She wins the AI arena. Honestly, she kicked Tucker's ass. Julie phones into the house to reveal the results, telling them that MJ won the arena. You can see their faces as they all get a reality check of what's about to happen. And Tucker and Angela start campaigning. Angela makes a speech. People go into her room and everyone follows, leaving Angela and Tucker alone in the living room. They leave us watching the living room conversation. I want to see the bedroom conversation. Why encourage them to go in rooms if we can't see the rooms? Tucker and Angela give their speeches. Tucker's is super serious for him, and Angela gives her stump speech, screaming and fist pumping. Joseph breaks down crying during Angela's speech, and I don't think it's because of her speech. We get to the votes. Votes to evict Angela are Rubina, Chemo, and Joseph, and votes to evict Tucker are Chelsea, Leah, Mackenzie, Quinn, and Cam. Julie tells them that by a vote of 5-3, Tucker is evicted. This is a sad one. They're all torn up about it. Tucker and Rubina kiss as he leaves. In the interview, Julie asks Tucker if he threw the challenge, and he admits that he just did bad and built it backwards. He feels the most betrayed by Mackenzie, but he's cool about it and understanding. Julie's really trying to get a reaction out of Tucker, but he's just chill. Julie reveals that Tucker won $20,000 for his work as the instigator, which really was just a cash tip for him from CBS from the second they announced it. He says his relationship with Rubina is real, and we have to say goodbye to Tucker here, who I originally had ranked 14th in my rankings preseason. He came in with what he said was the sole goal of breaking the first in curse, and was pretty fixated on that for someone who barely watched the show before coming. Someone who would say yes to anything production would want him to do and not complain about it. He started the game not wanting to be in any alliances at first, but as time went on, he found his crew to be loyal to, and for a minute there during his HOH, he seemed to have most of the house in love with him. He had his enemies in a corner on a block, but then he saved Quinn and played with Chelsea by throwing her on the block in his place, and ultimately they all came back to get his ass at the first opportunity. All in all, I feel like he's great TV, but I don't think he was really doing this for the money or to win. He seemed to want to make a name for himself and let people know he exists, which is a great formula for a reality TV person, but I think with the commitment to the 100 days and missing his dog, saying he wanted to go home this week, he might have had a case of the Kennys where when things were going well for him and he was playing and winning, he wanted to be there, but then when things weren't going well, he was ready to go home. He ends up falling victim to a few curses here. First in curse, costume curse, Ainsley's curse, but he did use the veto on someone else and not go home, so there was something there. I think he'd be great on a show with a shorter filming schedule, and CBS obviously loves him. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him on Reindeer Games, on Amazing Race with Rubina. Hell, I even think Jeff Probst is licking his lips for this guy. Give me Traders and Challenge too. Why not? At the end of the episode, Julie tells us that the game is changing next Thursday, likely the end of the AI arena, and maybe something new. This was the point last season where they did Zombie Week, which really caused the season to go really slow, so I'm hoping that things just continue. 2 nominees. We don't even need a double eviction this year. Spare me the trauma. But that's all I have to say about this week's episodes. I'll be back later tonight with an updated Week 6 player ranking. And of course, I'll be back on Wednesday to talk about the challenge and Thursday to talk about Week 7 of Big Brother. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this week. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, have a nice weekend. Bye.